It is the RIOT podcast for Friday, December 15th. Before we get into this podcast, we should remind you that our RIOT Live at Christmas party was last night, and we had a ball. I think everybody who watched live had a ball, and you can still watch it and have a ball yourself by checking it out on the RadioU RIOT Facebook page or YouTube channel. And today in the show, we have a little debate about drunk driving. Not whether it's right or wrong, but how to stop it.
We also talked about if anyone has ever actually kissed under a mistletoe.
Also, we question whether our dogs love Christmas as much as we do and what they would do if they saw Santa Claus in our homes.
And finally, a new Christmas dating trend. Your relationship may seem like it's going well, or are they just waiting for the new year to possibly turn the tables?
Enjoy the show today. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. RadioU.
Curious if anybody listening right now has this ailment. Cyberchondria. Do you know what that might mean, Isaiah?
I can't be too sure. It sounds kind of techie,
Well,
but also like mitochondria,
yes, the powerhouse of the cell.
as we all know.
Isaiah, do you know what cyber means, right?
Yes, of course.
You watched Cyber Chase growing up as a child. And have you ever heard of hypochondria?
I'd never heard of hypochondria.
You never heard somebody called a hypochondriac?
That sounds familiar. I feel like I should know what that means. That mean you're afraid?
Yeah. It's so a hypochondriac is somebody that always thinks, I don't know if this is a technical term, but basically the idea that you always think you're sick or there's always something wrong, like physically wrong with you. And so you're constantly afraid of having some kind of sickness or something like that. Cyberchondria.
Weenies, also known as.
It's a real disease or a real ailment anyways. But cyberchondria, not officially recognized, but it's essentially the idea that you're constantly Googling or WebMDing symptoms that you think you have because, again, it's not to the level full on of hypochondria, but it's the same idea that you constantly are worried that you have something. So you're looking it up to make sure that either you do or don't have some kind of illness.
And the thing about that, too, is once you start Googling, it's a never-ending thing because it's going to tell you have something terrible. It's going to tell you it's your last day alive, essentially. It
is true that you never get, it's very rare, especially on WebMD. Google is, I think, slightly better about this, but you rarely get reassurance that actually that's fairly normal and you don't really have anything to worry about. See if it goes away, which I understand, right? It makes sense that not too many places want to tell you that because what if it isn't the normal thing?
True.
And so then could they be liable or something? I don't know.
Worst case scenario comes first.
Right.
That way, if it's something less, then you won't feel as bad.
And their bases are covered. But at the same time, it does just send you down a spiraling path of nervousness and anxiety, thinking you've got some kind of disease.
Yeah, I lean against looking things up and seeing how you feel. I think you can just feel it, you know? You can feel if it's the cold versus the flu.
Yeah.
And you can usually tell how sick you actually are.
I wouldn't say I have this, but I have to fight against it because I oftentimes will get tempted to is that a weird thing that you're was that a muscle spasm or are you having a heart attack type thing? And I know if I look it up, it's going to tell me heart attack, but until I die, I'm just going to keep assuming.
Keep purring.
Yeah, because again, as we've covered, if you look it up, you're going to get the worst case scenario.
And for me, whenever I would look it up and then I would call a parent of mine, like my mom or dad, and be like, this is what I found. And
That's a good strategy.
I am known in the family as being a little bit dramatic.
Ooh, you're the nervous Nelly of the bunch, huh?
I have a little bit of a rep for being a little bit over dramatic when it comes to how bad I'm actually feeling, what's really happening to me. And so my parents, usually my father, do a pretty good job of saying, you're totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good strategy. So if you think you might have something today, don't hold us liable, but just don't look it up.
You probably don't.
It'll probably go away.
You'll be fine. Give it a couple days.
Yeah, you're young. You're in good shape.
Get some good sleep. Drink some water.
Useless knowledge is next.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Now, with the holidays also comes harmful holiday dating trends. And I've got a new one for you. It's called tinseling.
Sounds dangerous.
It
Sounds
sure is.
dangerous.
It sure is. You know, tinsel is back in style now. But tinseling is never in fashion.
My family didn't love tinsel. My dad especially. He thought it made a mess.
It is. It's messy. Nikki and I talked about this last week when you were out, that tinseling, no good. If you had tinsel on your tree, it would be a disaster because Jim the dog would eat it.
Yeah, he would go wild with it.
And
He'd be
then-
flinging it around with his nose.
Either you need surgery to get it out,
No.
or it all comes out. Well, you can do the math. But tinseling, let's talk about the dating trend. Tinseling, much like you would put tinsel on a tree, it's bright and shiny and eye-catching, but underneath hides a dry, boring fire hazard of a Christmas tree. Similarly, tinseling in a relationship is covering the relationship with bright and shiny Christmas cheer, but underneath bubbles some real issues that some refuse to address.
So essentially, it's Christmas time, all fun and games, but in reality, your relationship is on thin ice.
It could be described by Tina Wilson, a relationship expert. She coined the term. She says that it's choosing to maintain a facade of harmony and togetherness, all while overlooking unresolved problems in the relationship.
I will say, during the Christmas season, it is easy to think about a lot of other things. It's a busy time.
Yes.
You're shopping for one another, shopping for the family. There's lots of events going on, Christmas movies. You can keep your mind off your issues pretty easily.
Yeah, for a while. I think the holidays can have a real. It's a bell curve, a reverse bell curve of what they can do to your relationship. Either you gloss over any issues, or because you're all just having fun and games because it's the holidays, or all the pressure of the holidays bring your issues to a head and make it even worse this time of year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's all about if you're confrontational versus non-confrontational, too.
Yeah.
I think if you're confrontational, then the Christmas time might be a little bit stressful for you because you're going to bring it up with your boyfriend or girlfriend. Whereas if you're non-confrontational, then you can just avoid it. It's really easy to avoid.
That's exactly right. And it ties into a warning sign. The top warning sign of your relationship being tinseled is noticing your partner being overly full of the Christmas spirit, or maybe yourself, full of Christmas spirit, presents, joy galore. But if you want to talk about anything serious, they'll always say, let's talk after Christmas.
You're done for.
Yeah. But if you're trying to have like real serious chats right now too, maybe you're thinking a little too much too. Maybe you guys got to meet in the middle. Maybe they're a little too much excited. Maybe you're a little too serious. Try to have a little fun.
Try to have a little Christmas spirit.
Yeah. Just wait till you see what they got you.
Yeah, exactly. Once you get through the gifts, then you can figure out everything else.
Yeah.
If they didn't get you good gifts, then you know what to do.
Right.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
I have a guy here who, thanks to a single bug getting into his home, caused his entire apartment to explode.
That doesn't seem like the ideal route, getting rid of a bug.
It does not. It was a cockroach. Isaiah, what do you do if you notice a bug, an unwelcome bug in your house?
I actually have a way of getting rid of these kind of things that might be a little bit unorthodox.
Yeah.
I usually say, Jim, get it. I
Jim
point
the
at
dog,
it.
yeah.
Yes, my dog. Because I want him to feel like he has a job. He doesn't really have a job at the
Yeah.
house. He kind of just sleeps. But he feels very good when he gets to smash a bug.
And so
He's-
what does he kill it?
Of course he kills it. He jumps on top of it a bunch
Yeah.
of times.
Uh-huh.
And then by the time that he kills it, then he looks at me pridefully.
Yeah.
And I say, good boy, Jim. And I give him a treat.
You ever
I want him to feel like he has a job.
has he ever been bitten or stung? Or,
Oh, no. He's mainly killing ants.
Yeah.
We don't. I haven't had to. Spiders as well. He's killed spiders.
Stink bugs? Any stink bugs?
He's went at stink bugs before. Usually I have to get him off those.
Yeah, that
I
could
don't
be
want my
trouble.
house smelling.
Yeah.
But I like to make him feel like he's done something, accomplished something.
I feel like for Jim the dog, one bee sting would be enough to make him never attack a bug again.
Yeah. Thankfully, we
Although-
haven't had to do bees.
Yeah.
Mainly spiders and ants. And yet again, he feels very proud when he does it. I like to give him a treat because he has no job.
That's smart. I'll tell you, it also smart because it wouldn't cause your house to explode. What I have here is this guy in Japan, a single cockroach entered his home, and he really wanted to get this cockroach out of there. So he had a can of cockroach insecticide that he, again, for a single cockroach, apparently just went all out, spraying this entire bottle of the aerosol, like Raid or whatever. But the problem was, in Japan, they have something called a kotatsu, which is a heating table. And so he sprayed so much of this thing, which is flammable, near his heating table, and that caused the explosion. So I have to imagine it did kill the cockroach, maybe. And fortunately, the guy is okay, but not his apartment. Apartment not okay.
Jocelyn texted in. She said, me when I see a bug, and she said it was a gif of there was a spider I panicked and it's a house burning down.
Yeah.
She said, but I think it's gone now.
That's what happened to this guy.
And some people do get that way. Some people freak out about bugs. And they immediately go worst case scenario, like this man who blew up the apartment. I would say, does he get kicked out now?
He's not getting the deposit back. I'll tell you that.
You lose your lease on something like
Yeah.
that? Like you're out, right? And it's one cockroach? Why? And I don't understand how big was the explosion.
It was enough to...
Because he's still alive to tell the story.
Yeah, but it was enough to smash his windows anyways.
I wonder what, he's spraying this, the explosion happens, he probably jumps,
Yeah.
slow-mo, explosion behind
Uh-huh.
him. Cockroach still alive, probably. Cockroaches are hard to kill.
They are. That's why you just got to smash them if you want to get them out. Or you can do what I do. I'm a very peaceful individual.
You don't.
I'm afraid of bugs, but I always make an effort to capture them with a cup. And
No, you don't.
I do every time. Always.
A cup,
Yeah.
and you let them rain free outside?
Yeah.
They're coming right back in. How do you think they got in the first time?
I don't know, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
They're coming right back inside to your warm, cozy couch.
I haven't crossed paths with the same bug many times, so it seems to be working.
Maybe they're grateful.
That's right. Because I didn't have to give them another chance at life, but I did it.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Do you believe this, Isaiah? A new study has come out that suggests that our pets enjoy Christmas as much as we do.
Maybe if you have a really smart dog.
So you don't think Jim, you wouldn't describe him as smart,
I wouldn't know. I
So
still love him, though.
but you don't think, so you're saying that you don't think Jim the dog enjoys Christmas as much as you do.
There's no chance.
I think this would be a very exciting time for him.
Not this year. Jim, I'm not going to lie. He's going to have a bad Christmas.
Uh-oh. Why do you say that?
I'm traveling for Christmas,
Oh, is he getting boarded?
and he can't come. But no, he's not getting boarded.
Oh.
He's going to be at home with my roommate,
Oh,
but he's not going to get to spend Christmas with me.
a little lonely.
He won't be lonely. He might be a little lonely
Yeah, I think he'll be lonely.
on Christmas. I feel bad. But my whole family decided to leave. So I had no choice. My whole family decided that they were going to take a flight,
Yeah.
and he can't. I mean, we know. We can't take him on a plane.
Have you ever tried?
He barely behaves in my house. He would be, the number one villain on a plane. There's no chance they would allow him. I would probably be on the no-fly list if I brought that dog on a plane and he was beside me.
Yeah.
There's no chance.
Well, put him down below in the below decks.
The underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The cargo hold.
Unfortunately, Jim, this Christmas he's not going to be his best Christmas. But when we get back, we're going to have another Christmas when we get back. So he'll get to experience that.
All right, fine. Let's talk about then generically previous Christmases. Do you think Jim the dog enjoyed it as
He
much
has had
as
a
you?
good time. He got to go, so he was there.
Yeah.
He got gifts. He got a big bone. He gets gifts from people, so he enjoys that. He likes the gatherings. He likes people.
According to, this is a study from Many Pets, and they used a dog behaviorist as well to help them figure this out. They found not only that pets enjoy Christmas and the festivities, they also found that many are capable of recognizing Santa Claus himself. You think Jim could do that?
Jim doesn't even look. He won't even look at a TV or my phone, so he doesn't recognize Santa.
He doesn't know who Santa is.
He refuses, actually. It's pretty wild. If I hold my phone up to him, my screen,
Yeah.
to try to get a picture of him,
Uh-huh.
he will not look at the phone. He won't look at the screen for some reason. He's one of those dogs. He refuses to watch TV. He won't watch it. If you try to make him watch it, he won't watch it. So I don't think he would recognize Santa.
I don't think.
But Zafira?
Zafira, if she was awake when Santa Claus came down the chimney, which
You know
I
what
don't
she would
have,
do?
Oh, she'd bark like mad.
She'd run him out.
Yeah. I'll tell you, in the great debate of is Santa Claus real or whatever, the one thing that definitely supports the Santa Claus non-believers is how dogs, how could Santa deal with all the dogs? It's got to be magic.
Magic.
Yeah. Because there's no realistic way that he could manage all these dumb dogs we've got. Or good dogs that are good protectors. Either way.
It's the magic. The magic is unquestioned.
Well, I guess also, maybe, according to the study, dogs recognize him, so they know he's no trouble. Yeah.
They know not to bark.
That's probably what it is.
That makes sense. When you say that many, that high of a percentage can recognize Santa.
Yeah.
That just means that those are the dogs that aren't sleeping in the bed with you. Obviously.
Right. Yeah, because they've seen him before, probably.
Makes sense.
And-
Jim sleeps in my bed. That's why I wouldn't recognize him, obviously.
Add a little Riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
And we chatted about Christmas parties for a while. We try to give you strategy to avoid issues if you've got an office party coming up, for example. But one thing we didn't talk about that I was thinking about is mistletoe. Have you ever actually seen mistletoe at a party hanging from one of the doorways?
I have not seen a mistletoe hanging around.
I'd like to put this question out to Radio U. You can text in to the Riot hotline. Has anyone ever actually kissed under the mistletoe in real life?
I never have. Have you? Have you seen it? I've never even seen the mistletoe.
I don't think that I know of I've ever seen mistletoe in real life. Just in movies. And I don't even think real movies, cartoons. I'm not even sure I would know what it looks like.
I know what it looks like. It's there's a little ribbon and a bell and some greenery. And it's little and it hangs.
Yeah.
Usually over a doorway.
Yeah, because two people are always going through a doorway together.
It's usually
What
the
better
cross.
place?
It's usually maybe you come around a corner
Okay.
and you just find yourself under it. What do? You have to kiss.
That's also the thing in movies, right? Where it's you're required.
It almost
it's
seems a
not-
little
you-
non-consensual if you ask me.
Yeah, mistletoe does not equal consent. It almost seems like you've if you're going to a party that has mistletoe, there's some contract that is signed where you have to kiss if you happen to meet somebody under the mistletoe.
And there's always that one guy that's kind of leaned up against the wall that's right next to it at all times. Just waiting to get himself a snog.
That'd be you, wouldn't it?
That would not be me.
Just like constantly posted up under the doorway, just hoping. If you see somebody coming, you don't really want to kiss them. You like kind of like step away.
Yeah.
You take a quick little.
You act like you're looking at something on your phone. You turn around.
Yep, a quick little hop.
And then right as soon as
drink's empty, gotta go refill this.
Right as soon as the pretty girl's walking, I spin around. Oh, whoa!
Yeah.
What do we do now?
What are the odds?
We both just found ourselves here under the mistletoe. Mark said he had mistletoe in his house in the doorway. Kissed his girlfriend under it. I might have to put it up to steal more kisses.
Hey, that's smart.
Now we're thinking.
I'm wondering too, if you do have mistletoe and you've kissed under it, it wasn't like it's not, again, like in the movies, it's always like, oh, what a happy accident. But we've kind of been, noticing
That's
each other
never
anyways.
happened in real life.
It's always like, I feel like it's pre-planned that you're going to meet under the mistletoe. It's orchestrated. It's not as cute.
Unless it's like if you hang it up like Mark did in his house.
Yeah.
It's like your girlfriend or your wife and you walk under it. That's just like a cute little Sunday, whatever.
Yeah.
But like if you're at a party, has anyone ever been at a party where there's been mistletoe hanging? Whoever hung that, a little creepy.
Yep.
A little questionable.
Uh-huh.
But then I think at the same time, makes for a good party.
It does. It makes for a good story if it all works out. But it could also lead to somebody being very upset.
Regina says, only because my corny mother put it up at her house and pointed it out to all the couples. Sounds like a motherly thing to do.
Yeah, that's right. Especially if there was like, what if your mom invited over, like, you're single and she's really been trying to set you up with this one gal.
And you don't want to be set up with her.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to be set up with any gal probably your mom's trying to set you up with. And she's like, oh, Stephanie also happens to be here. And look, I hung mistletoe. And look, it's over you two guys' chairs.
Yeah, sounds like the worst case scenario. If it's hanging in a house, I'd say no. If it's at a party, that's just never happened. Dee says, my mom kept plastic mistletoe hanging in the kitchen, so my dad always said he had to kiss her when walking through the kitchen.
Does plastic mistletoe?
It counts.
It counts.
Yeah, it still counts.
Who's going to check the reality of it right before they kiss?
Susanna says, husband and I were walking in North Carolina, and it grows wild there. We always had a fake one growing up.
I always thought it was, for some reason, I thought it was like only grew in like Alaska or something. Apparently not.
You see it in the wild, you have to kiss. I'll tell you that much. If you walk under it in the wild,
In like the forest?
you have to kiss.
Yeah, I guess so.
No matter who's there.
Because that's fate right there.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
That's Southwest Airlines. I don't know if you've seen all the positive headlines going around for Southwest Airlines and their plus size passenger policy. It's getting a lot of positive recognition. The policy is if you are a customer, a traveler whose body encroaches past the armrest, you are entitled to an extra seat free of charge. Did you know about this?
I did not.
It's crazy because I didn't either. Now, neither of us are anywhere near plus size, but this has been their policy for over 30 years. But if you ask most people, I bet you they wouldn't know.
You've never really seen it even.
That's right. It hasn't come up. What I have seen in the past is a lot of criticism from plus size folks that airplanes aren't meant for them and that it's difficult to travel. But I guess maybe they didn't know that Southwest is doing kind of their part to kind of help them out. So the word is getting out there right about now, right heading into the holidays. And they say, so for Southwest, they say there's two ways if you're a plus size individual that you can take advantage of this policy. One, you go to your gate agent and you talk to them and you say, hey, look, I'm plus size. You know, that extra seat policy, can I take advantage of it? And they might be able to help you.
That seems a little last minute, does it not?
Exactly. Especially now at the holidays, flights are going to be booked up. They might as much as it is their policy and they might want to help, there's not an extra seat to give. So the other thing that Southwest recommends is that you buy 2 seats next to each other and ask for reimbursement afterwards.
I don't know if you're getting that.
Yeah, I'm sure that
That
is what they
seems kinda-
recommend.
I bet it is.
Sure it is. I think they recommend that to everybody, no matter what size you are.
And how do they determine? Like when you get that reimbursement? Like, could I buy 2 seats and ask for reimbursement? Do I just send a photo of myself?
The policy states it's customers whose bodies encroach past the armrest. So you'd have to encroach. I'm not plus size. I think I could make myself encroach. But if it's voluntary encroachment, I don't think it counts.
Yeah, it seems like if you ask at the gate, then at least you're not having to risk your money.
Right.
But you're
but you
also
are
waiting.
risking being very uncomfortable.
You're risking it though. Or do you just buy the 2 seats and hope you get the reimbursement? Yet again, how are they enforcing that? Like, are you sending a photo?
I don't know.
Because if you're asking for it afterwards,
if you're asking for it and you're anywhere close, they'll probably, they'll probably say yes, right? They're not going to be like, sorry, you're not large enough.
No, I 100% think that as well. But at the same time, how are they verifying? It feels like anybody could do this. Because I don't think they're going to have you.
It is true.
They're not going to have you send a photo.
Because if you or I, they would say no. But at some point, there has to be some person that's in a gray area where you have to make a tough call.
I don't think they're telling anybody no.
So
because I don't
think if we did it.
I think we could 100% do it.
Or would they lie and say, no, the flight is full, we can't. But then what if you see an empty seat on there?
Then you're upset.
Yeah. I think the best thing to do is to buy, this is me if I'm playing this out. You buy 1 seat on Southwest, you ask at the gate, but you only do that on Southwest. This is just, you fly Southwest now. Because if you fly Delta, apparently there's no chance of this happening.
Yeah, you for sure ask at the gate.
Yeah.
Just hope. It's not usually, flights aren't usually completely full.
Yeah. But I guess it's nice to know that they claim they'll reimburse you.
Yeah.
I just don't believe it.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
An interesting little debate that's taking place right now. You can chime in at 8772 RadioU. It says here, government officials are one step closer to making impaired driving prevention technology a safety standard in new cars. In other words, there is technology that exists in the early stages of development that could be installed if you bought a brand new car that would be able to detect if you were about to drive drunk and therefore prevent you from actually driving. Now, obviously, let's look at this. You look at the pro, people wouldn't be able to drive drunk.
That's good.
That's a very good thing. Driving drunk, bad. We all agree. What some naysayers might say is if you install this in every new car, is that a little bit of an encroachment on some privacy, the car that belongs to you? And also, of course, another thing you could say is, how do we know? How do we trust this? How could it be used against people that maybe aren't actually trying to get behind the wheel drunk? There's a lot of potential foibles, but are the foibles worth it to prevent drunk driving, which is obviously a big problem?
So I imagine this technology.
Yep.
It says that it can sense it.
Yes. Some people, I think initially coming to mind, would think, oh, so they're going to put a breathalyzer in every single vehicle.
That you'd have to blow into.
No, that's not what they're doing. This would be, I guess similar to the kind of like how you have lane assist that makes sure you don't try to change lanes with somebody behind you, or like how you can automatically parallel park, some kind of technology that's going to be able to detect based off of your behavior and movements. Maybe it can read your eyes. I'm not sure. But it would be able to sense based off of your behavior if you are drunk.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This is never going to work.
Probably, yeah, because it would always say I'm too drunk. to drive.
Every morning when I'm driving into RadioU at like
Yeah.
5 in the morning, there's no shot they wouldn't be like, this guy, he cannot be driving.
Yeah.
Because I'm like half awake. I'm like kind of like, I'm like pushing the center lane a little bit. I'm getting back over. I'm trying to keep myself all locked in here.
Uh-huh.
I don't want them telling me that I need to stop on the way.
But that said, even if we aren't drunk, if we're unsafe to drive,
Oh,
we're unsafe to
okay.
drive. But then again, isn't that what a driver's license is telling you? If we got the license, we're safe to drive.
What about this? Instead of maybe being able to tell by your driving, maybe when you get in the car,
Uh-huh.
it asks you a question and you only have so much time to react.
Ooh. Like, what would the questions be?
Maybe like, go ahead and give me M through P backwards.
And that would be able to
You
tell.
you failed. No, you're not driving.
You weren't asking me. Isn't that when the police ask you to do that, isn't that like to see if you follow instruction, not to actually see if you could accurately do it?
I don't know if it's what the inner workings are.
That's what I've learned.
I wouldn't mind
from all the times I've been pulled over. Now I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just maybe a simple question. If you can answer the question, then, what's the square
That
root of
is-
64?
Yeah, but most people, what if you don't know that anyways?
Yep, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to drive.
I mean, your approach is a lot simpler and a little maybe less invasive, or just has less potential to be misused, I guess you could say.
And it would also be a little annoying too. Let's say even if they just put the breathalyzer in there, right?
Yeah.
But it would be annoying that every time you got in the car, you got to blow into that
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
You would think that it would it'd be pretty quick.
but many would say that would be like people coming into your house without a warrant just to check. It's
Yeah.
probably like you have to have a reason to think I'm dangerous to actually start charging me or investigating me, kind of stuff.
But if they put it in the car, it would be just as normal as putting your seatbelt on, probably. If you gave it like 3 years.
Yeah. And
People would get used to it.
everybody who's not drunk. I mean, the breathalyzer would probably be more accurate, and everybody who's not drunk shouldn't have too much of a problem with that, right?
You would think they would get that right. People
So-
would be upset. The first time it messes up, oh man, everybody's outraged.
That's right. And a mess up. 8772 Radio U. Where do you land on the anti-drunk driving technology?
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
It is a Friday. That means a big weekend of football is coming up. A big weekend of college football bowl games. Isaiah, this is a classic game. It's far from my original idea. But there's so many bowls nowadays, so many wild names of college football bowl games. We're going to play real or fake. I'll read you a bowl game name. You tell me if you think it's real or if you think I made it up. Question number 1. The famous Toastery Bowl.
The Toastery?
The famous Toastery Bowl.
Toastery. I'm going to lean fake. I don't know what toastery means.
I'm not that creative. The famous Toastery Bowl is real. It's coming up Monday between Western Kentucky and Old Dominion in Charlotte, North Carolina. Famous Toastery is a restaurant.
Nice.
I guess probably in like North Carolina. Can't be nationwide because I've never heard of it. Okay, next. The Mr. Tire Fenway Bowl.
The Mr. Tire Fenway Bowl. That's a little long for me. Mr. Tire Fenway Bowl. Not catchy. Bad PR if so. I lean nay. Fake.
That's a good eye on you. That was a trick question. Because the Fenway Bowl is real, but it's not sponsored by Mr. Tire.
Oh, okay.
It is sponsored by Wasabi. It's the Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
See, that rolls off the tongue.
It
That's
does.
good PR.
That's right. It rolls right off the tongue. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl is coming up. That is going to be SMU against Boston College in a few days. All right, let's do the next one. The Lens Crafters Vision Bowl. Real or fake?
That's real. That's a good name.
I know it is. I
the
came up with
Lens
it myself.
Crafter Vision Bowl. That's the Vision Bowl would be cool.
That would be cool. I'm sorry to say, most bowl games do not have names that are as cool as that I just invented. The Lens Crafters Vision Bowl. Great sponsorship tie-in, too, if that was real. So Lens Crafters, get on that. Okay, how about this one? The Beantown Bowl, presented by Friendlies.
I like that. I like Friendlies. I'll go real. Friendlies doesn't have a bowl.
You're not very good at this. The Beantown Bowl, I made that up. Fake. Doesn't exist. That's still, I mean, would that be a good bowl in the game name, though?
The Beantown Bowl?
Yeah, obviously.
I don't know if that's a good name.
Similarly to the Fenway Bowl, would have to take place in Boston because that's Beantown. So, okay, how about this one? You're not a very good score here so far. But what about?
Thanks for the update on that. We were wondering.
What about the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl?
I'm gonna lean real. Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Doesn't roll off the tongue, but I like Scooter.
I thought I could trip you up on that because I mean, if you kind of know college football, the Frisco Bowl is a familiar name, but Scooters Coffee I thought might get you. But that's the sponsor. That is coming up on Tuesday between UTSA, Texas San Antonio, and Marshall. We'll be playing. All right, I got one more for you. This one's a mouthful. The Starco Brands LA Bowl, hosted by Gronk.
That's got to be real.
That's, yet again, I'm not that creative. And I'm also not that stupid. I wouldn't make such a long bowl game name.
Yeah, you would have made something cooler like the Lens Crafter Vision Bowl.
I know. They should put me in charge of naming the bowls because mine were much cooler than the real ones. The Starco Brands LA Bowl is coming up tomorrow between UCLA and Boise State in Los Angeles. It used to be the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
See, that's a better name.
It is.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.